Alrighty, hello, welcome to the CREEDCAST and welcome to the Thursday squad show for the AFLW coming up this weekend at Alberton Oval, your Yartapaldi Footy Club. It is Indigenous round, which is something that we always enjoy and get around because it's a great thing to acknowledge and keep acknowledging the great contribution, first of all, of the Indigenous players to our game and Indigenous culture, but as well as it helps bring wider understanding and lens to Indigenous culture as well, which is very, very important in this day and age. That is still we're still battling some of the fringes of society, so it's always good to cast a positive light on these things. And I love that Port Adelaide does. I don't know what the right term is, rebrand, but they just brand themselves as Yartapaldi Footy Club for the next couple of weeks, I believe, for the Indigenous round recognition, playing the Gold Coast Suns, who I do believe that is they still refer to themselves as the Gold Coast Suns in this round as well, at Alberton at 4:35 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. Before I bring Jamie in, I'll just make mention that the weather is meant to be okay on Saturday from my reading of it might be a bit blustery, which Alberton always, if it's going to be a bit blustery, you'll notice it at Alberton, so that'll be fun for the conditions. But as far as an incredibly bleak day of both rain and wind that we've got coming on Friday. That's hopefully that's clearing up by Saturday afternoon. But we'll, I guess, wait and see how that goes because tomorrow for all us South Aussies is looking like it's. I saw the bomb radar for the weather warning, and it just looked like it was pretty much everywhere in South Australia. It was like under threat. So yeah, hopefully we're not like getting blown away on Saturday afternoon. Jamie, good evening. How are you doing? Looking forward to Alberton on Saturday afternoon.
Yes, I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah, still coming down from the high of last Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, looking forward to another installment of AFLW footy at Alberton Oval. A fabulous place to watch football
Mm-hmm.
and be amongst the soul of the club. So looking forward to this one where we may actually pose a good challenge and potentially come away with some points.
Yes, and it's much needed to do that if we are to, because it's the unfortunate thing. There's a real for me, having gone to college in the US and gone to and experienced the college football culture, and particularly when I went to college, it was like only two teams could get to the championship. The short season of the AFLW feels like every result feels magnified because of the fact that, if you get yourself in a hole early, then it can be really, really difficult to pull yourself out of. Like comparative to like last year, when you think about the men's last year in Brisbane, just if you started the season the way Brisbane did in the AFL men's last year, you're not getting out of it, but they had a chance to crawl themselves back up the table and ultimately win the grand final. We obviously had a tough start to the season. Freo, a team that we see ourselves as maybe in a similar spot to, we dropped the game to them, but though we were in it, and then last week we do get beaten, pants beaten off us pretty well by what is the best team in the AFLW over the last 18 months in the North Melbourne Kangaroos. As you said, the Suns do present a team that have lost their opening two games to West Coast by 15 points and then getting smacked by 82 points by the Brisbane Lions last week. The Sydney Swans last week. My apologies. I was looking at the Brisbane scores for another game earlier on. I think Brisbane beat Freo last week. And I was kind of looking at what Freo had done as well. But yeah, Sydney, a team that came into the competition the same year as us, building very, very nicely and beat Gold Coast quite comfortably last week. So Gold Coast
And went with the triple digit social media tile. Did you see
I
that?
did see that, and they went with it early as well. It was
Yeah, first quarter.
I appreciate the commitment to it early, because
And then to get a triple digit score to shut everyone else up.
yeah, because there was a few people kind of like getting on social media being like, "Oh, look at Sydney doing their like, is that what's with this triple digit score bug thing they're doing?" And then it gets to the end of the game, it's like, okay, they knew. um,
It'd be funny if it went back to double digits for this week's game for
yeah,
Sydney. Just like it's just pure disrespect on the day versus Gold Coast for
yeah.
some reason.
Oh, they've got to stick with it now, don't they? Like they're just go with it. They've clearly
Yeah.
got some scoring power. But yeah, I mean, Gold Coast being our opponent this week, they've put up a score of they 20 points in the first round and then 21 points against Sydney last week. So they've not been scoring big, and they're being West Coast are a team that's building as well, but like they're still one of the lower teams. I think West Coast are just sitting outside the 8 at the moment after dropping last week's game. So they're in a position, they're gettable, and I think something that makes me feel better about the game this week as well, because of the concerns of the structure for our team that is still learning what their structure is, but there's certain players that really, really are, and I've used this term once already to refer to her as this week, and I'm just seeing her face smiling behind you. If you're watching on YouTube, Jamie's got the team selection for graphic from Port Adelaide up behind him, and there's Emily Borg just like doing a little like one of these as I almost knock some.
And she's got a pair. She's got a pair. I don't know which way to go on her
she's
wrist, which I
Really?
didn't notice about.
Well,
Yeah, I
that's
don't know.
good.
You can't see it. I'm in the way, but if you go on the Port Adelaide website, or it's probably the same on socials as well, you'll see a little pair on her wrist as well.
Well, that's incredible. I'm going to check that out as soon as we finish recording. But yes, Emily Borg's back in the side. It's the only change to the side this week, with Jasmine Stewart going out into the emergencies. So presuming that her coming back in means that she is fit and ready to go, she is a massive boost to the structure and kind of everything we build from behind. She was so important. She's been so important since she's come into the side, and she's built into like an ultra reliable, someone we think is like heading, steamrolling towards all Australian kind of form for the next few years. And well, a fair few years down the track if she keeps herself fit. She's going to be really, really important, and adds to my confidence that we can maybe finally get our first win on the board this week against Gold Coast.
Yeah, agree with your sentiments. Emily Borg coming back in is a huge in, particularly because it was a little precarious, what had the severity
Mm-hmm.
of her ankle injury. I mean, getting her in crutches straight away at Alberton in round one, obviously hyper cautious, and unless she's been rushed back in, it seems to have been the right call
Mm.
at the day on the day, should I say, and lay by the bay.
I just
And one
may.
of your favorite sayings, I just may, yeah. Well, the straw that stirs the drink is Emily Borg personified. And to be fair, um, comes into a defensive line that I'm pretty happy with. So, I
Mm.
mean, that sounds degrading to the rest of the team. I'm actually really happy with our mix. Um, it's hard to back up of a game against North Melbourne, because how much of it do you take away,
Mm.
apart from some of the obvious points that we made the other night, but with some opposition who's at a similar level to what we are, and one
Mm.
that we handily accounted for last year in Queensland. So, and just looking at both sides compared to the teams that played off against each other last year, both teams have about 4 or 5 changes, but the core of the teams is still there, which, if the conditions aren't too ridiculous, which can kind of be a bit like a shit tip wicket in cricket,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it can kind of really throw the balance out and level the playing field. But yeah, hopefully they'll have a hunger to attack Gold Coast, particularly early. We 2 games now we've started pretty poorly on
Mm.
both occasions. So, knowing that this one's up for grabs and at home, I expect them to start with a bit of tenacity to try and just get some score on the board and get the game underway, because we've been chasing the scoreboard last couple of weeks.
We certainly have, and that was really kind of alarming when we were down there at Alberton for the opening one against Freo, because Freo got their first two very, very quickly, and I had my concerns coming out of the practice match period of our ability to score comfortably, particularly with the loss of Julia Teagle in preseason as well. So yeah, a good start, and because we're doing okay at this like center clearance and stuff like that. Like obviously with dominance of Matilda Schultz and some of the players we have around there, we can get clearance and can do okay in that area and not get. We didn't get badly beaten. It's just the ball like even against North Melbourne, those areas weren't a concern. It was the ball movement outside of that, both our inability to retain possession, turn the ball over, and then obviously North Melbourne being such a good unit, they were just finding space all over the field and could move it with relative ease. So if we're coming up against an opposition that is, with no disrespect to Gold Coast, right, well, they are literally right around. We are currently bottom of the table with a percentage of 29.3. The Gold Coast are just above us with the same win-loss record, obviously, but with a percentage of 29.7. So they are right where we are. They're not going to be the North Melbourne Kangaroos. That is just fact. So with some of those areas that we do have some relative comparison to our opposition in the Kangaroos last week. We can take some of those areas and then capitalise on the fact we're playing a lesser opposition. I think there's some chances there. And again, Emily Borg being back there for when it does go into our defensive zone is a whole lot better than because you could just see there was a little bit of she is so important to that group back there, and both in her ability to just be the key defender, her height, she's really improved. Her marking's gotten way better. She's also, when it comes to ground level, she battles and hassles and can come out of the defensive 50, and she just does. She can patrol that entire zone and command what everyone else is doing from that point. And then you add in your Molly Brooksby's and Tegan Jermax, who we both got into our votes last week. You with Molly, me with Tegan, and both of us kind of like both thinking about the other one, I think, as well. Yeah, and then we've improved. Like we loved Saatchi's game in round one. She burnt the ball a little bit, but her ability to put the pressure on and try to be a stopper, particularly after Emily went out of the game as well in round one. And then Indy Tahoe's back as well. So yeah, like to your point, I really I love that mix back there. It's all about what we do further from the ball from there. That's probably our strongest line at the moment. I mean, look, I think our midfield's very, very good as well. But I just think as far as what they're doing and the names down there, I think, the defense is really my favourite line at the moment as far as where my kind of trust is in what they can do as long as everyone else does their job.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we need our defense to be a strong unit to have any chance of being competitive. Obviously, like you said, the midfield is quite talented too, with the likes of Goody, Derrick, Vogue, Schultz, Lamb, and Maloney named to start. I guess just our challenges are slightly different between the two. And I mean, the defense really hasn't had I mean, against Fremantle, they had somewhat of an opportunity to actually defend properly because the ball was being held up in transition sometimes, and then on other times, as we commented, it was a bit too easy. But last week was just a bit of a cakewalk, and the defense were up to the challenge. It was just a weight of numbers ultimately. But I mean, Ella Heads is starting on an interchange, and she's been a bit of a mid, like a wing back rotation as well. But that also adds to the delight to the defensive line, and Alyssa Brooke and Ebony O'Day for backup even further on the interchange bench as well. So, like Gold Coast kicked 3 goals against us last year in what was dry, warm conditions up on the Goldie, and a couple of them are playing for them this time around in Taya Oliver and Jacqueline Dupuy. But we also have a couple of players who are missing from our scoring. The point is, though, coming off the back of their game against Sydney, a bit like ours, what do you actually take from it? And are they going to pose a more competitive challenge for us? It's a bit hard to tell, but I think we would have a certain level of confidence just due to the fact that our tackle numbers were up last week, like you mentioned. Clearance was at a good level. We evened that ledger against North Melbourne. So hopefully we're continuing to keep it away from our defenders, but know that they're strong enough to cope with a lot of what may come their way from this outfit in Gold Coast.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's going to be some of those ones in the middle. I mean, been reasonably happy. I mean, I really want to see probably one of the key ones for me in this game is I want to see them somehow get Shanae Goody up to. We talked about it a bit on a review show on Tuesday. And very much excited. Obviously, I would love the men to be continuing to play, but very, very excited to start getting to reviews where we're just talking, focusing on the women and be able to put a bit more time
Yeah.
into it because I felt the stretch of last week with everything going on when trying to talk about the women's game. So, but yeah, I kind of mentioned like Shanae Goodies, and you mentioned it as well. Like, just we're looking for some clean, good disposal, and we've said since she come into the side that, and I've said this a lot of times over the last probably last year since she's come in. She's one of those ones that you can really tell has had a developmental pathway for the last, for most of her teen years, and whenever she started playing footy, you can kind of see she's just got that football stride in her kick and disposal, and it shows in the fact that she has a reasonable trajectory and direction, some sharpness to her kicks, and we want to see that kind of disposal being utilised in the front half of the field a little bit, and maybe providing a little bit more opportunity for our forwards, because I think, yeah, forwards, I mean, the North Melbourne game, they were going to be starved probably anyway, but the Freo game and even the practice match I went to, there was a lot of, against Collingwood in the final practice match, a lot of intercept marks taken inside our forward 50 by Collingwood that were just not even close to being, like, they were like, it was like they were kicked to Collingwood players, and there was a bit of that against Freo, and it's just, we want to try to get our good ball users into position to try to dispose inside 50 and help out the likes of Gemma, and then, Ash Woodland, if she's playing down forward or wherever she is, she's going to, Chloe Gaunt's named again, which is good. I want to see her. She needs to get a bit of time. And you spoke to that on our Tuesday show as well. Like, she needs to kind of, if she's going to be the second ruck / forward alongside Matilda, then yeah, we need her getting some reps down forward, but she's not going to get them if she's not getting good disposal into her.
Mm-hmm. And I think she suffered because of that last week. She finished the game with 2 disposals because I think it was a bit of a late. I think maybe it was a bit of the most of the second half that she played a bit more in the midfield, but it seemed a bit late to move her around the ball. And then as a result of that, Schultz was getting opportunities forward. Unfortunately, couldn't convert on the day. So yeah, I would hope for a bit more of an earlier rotation because, like I said in the review, I don't think you're losing that much.
Mm-hmm.
Substituting Schultz for Gaunt in a ruck sense with the likes of a Dowrick, and if you put in Goody around there, and she's been listed on a wing on the
Mm-hmm.
team sheet, and I would imagine that Borg being back in to the back line and three other defensive players on the bench, yeah, that frees her up a little bit to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, clearance potentially won't suffer. And I think we'll see a bit better makeup, helping the ball move forward as well. I'd like to see Ella Bow get on the end of it as well. Well, probably transitioning it, sorry,
Yeah.
to those forwards.
Yeah. It is interesting seeing, the Goody and Bo kind of named it, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of role Ella Heads gets to play in this one because she has been somewhat of a utility in her early start. Whether it be kind of off halfback, but into that midfield role and on the wing as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that kind of mix goes. 'Cause there is some flexibility to what we can do with some of those players. I mean, Ella Heads we've been really impressed with. She was in both of our votes last week. For her to be kind of someone that can be utilised that way is really good. I'm intrigued by Kirsty Lamb being named. I mean, she's been playing in the midfield, but like we discussed, her time on ground number was quite low last week, which was quite impressive for the numbers she put up. I wonder how much time she will actually spend. Like, again, if those time on ground numbers are lower, but I will be quite happy to see her start in the middle alongside Maloney and Dowrick. I think it's a really tough. Kirsty's certainly never she leaves it all out in the field when she's in there, and maybe they're trying to inject a little bit more grunt, I guess, alongside. Though I think we've kind of had that mix anyway. But I wonder if we'll see. Maybe they're going to try and keep. I don't know. I'm thinking as I'm going, and I love Woodland around the ball, but it's just like, do we need to kind of, with the fact that our forwards are struggling a little bit, do we need to kind of, you use that as a pinch hit, but like really structure up with like a little bit more of a consistent midfield mix to help out and just win the ball at the source there in the midfield, whether it be center stop, center bounce, or just stoppage, and
Hmm.
let Woodland work down forward, and she can be a stoppage, work around the forward line and half forward, and
Yeah,
inject in there a little bit when rotations are needed, but just get a little bit more consistency and just with what we're dealing with at the moment with a few of those injuries, like because Wenland and Teagle are such huge misses from that forward mix that you need the class of Woodland down there a bit as well. I think.
yeah. I dare say we'll see her come up the ground and be part of a
Mm,
rotation in some regard, but she is listed at a full forward. So that we spoke about robbing Peter to pay Paul. Again, the flow on effect of Amelie Borg coming back in
mm,
means that Goody can be shifted up potentially into the midfield, and Woodland can spend a bit more time forward to provide a target. Excuse me. Because yeah, we need to get score on the board. We had some marks inside 50 last week, which we're quite happy with.
mm,
We've had higher marks this first couple of weeks that we're happy with from a statistical point of view in comparison to last year, but we need to start getting it in much more damaging positions on the ground
mm,
and giving us a good chance to score um, because yeah, we're not giving ourselves very much. And in saying that, though, against Fremantle, there was nine scoring shots to 11.
mm,
We didn't convert as well as Freo did. And again, most of that is because of the percentages in which where players were kicking scores from. High percentage shots for Freo and probably a bit more on the lower percentages for us. So yeah, I do like Woodland. Um, it may be a horses for courses thing. Again, coming up against Gold Coast, who are much more gettable. So
mm,
it potentially gives Lauren Arnell a chance to play a bit more of a standard structure, what she would ideally want from some of the key pillars moving forward and seeing
mm,
how they go. Because, yeah, like it's chock full of talent still. Um, and there's some tried and true players. You spoke about Kirsty Lamb, and I was just looking at kind of the midfield makeup. Um, I think the balance, having a Goody, Bogue, and a Heads complements Lamb, Maloney, and I mean Dowrick's a bit of a hybrid. She's a tough and an explosive player. So yeah, it's a good opportunity to get our balance right
mm,
and make sure the midfield rotation maintains that balance so that we can get a bit of grunt from stoppage, particularly if we are substituting Gaunt in at stages for Schultz. We need a bit more grunt on the ground because Schultz does also provide that.
yeah,
Her second efforts and third efforts at stages are a huge credit to her. But I am still
pretty much
interested
always
in,
top three in the contested possession numbers, isn't she?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She lives for it. But I think maybe at the Freo game, I'm not sure if we touched on it specifically, but I think she can get caught at stages because she is so good. She
Mm,
can get caught at stages trying to do a bit too much in the contest.
yeah.
Um, and that's where, yeah, we'll get a rushed balloon kick up in the air, or I think she may have got caught holding the ball on one or two occasions, um, and freeing her up, providing a marking target up forward potentially may hold us in good stead. Don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater though. Like we spoke about in the review of the North Melbourne game, you're not going to park her down forward,
Mm,
but offering a larger aerial threat because she's very hard to match up on when
mm,
going down forward. There's not that many good defenders in the competition. They're all at a fairly similar level and playing forwards who are at it on a similar keel to those defenders as well. So Schultz resting down there provides a huge challenge. I mean, we saw it firsthand on the weekend. It was one moment of intrigue when she was down there because she's taken a couple of marks. Her defender can't go with her and got shots on goals in damaging positions.
mm,
So while Woodland and Houghton are fantastic in their own right, they obviously rely on a bit more clean transition.
and forward
Um,
craft to capitalize on
mm,
clean transition. Whereas, yeah,
yeah,
Matilda can just be, you know, get her body in position.
stand and deliver,
Yeah, and just
kind
be
of.
like, this ground is mine. And like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Are you not entertained?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, like you mentioned the craft stuff. Like, I think the first couple of weeks this season, we've fallen into the trap of kicking it on our players' heads as opposed to like kicking
Mhm.
it in a paddock. And more often than not, we've had a fair amount of space to deal with in the forward 50. We've just kicked it to the contest rather than to the advantage side of a Houghton or a Woodland or some of the smalls, to be fair, like Juzzy would benefit a lot more
Oh, she loves a bit of
from
ground. She, yeah,
kicks to advantage in space.
because we know how
So
crafty she can be if she gets the ball in
yeah,
general play. Like we've seen that stuff multiple times.
yeah.
Last year, particularly what was the West Coast game, she had a little, like a real nice cameo there that kind of dragged us back into the game. Not a
Mhm.
cameo. She dragged us back into the game. Yeah,
And
uh,
you want to include the captain in the game. Like, she is a forward.
yeah,
But the way we've kind of been playing, and credit to her for kicking the two against Fremantle, but we've got to keep her involved in the game because
mhm.
when the number one is performing or in and around the contest, it has a tangible effect, I believe, on the rest of the team.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And
so yeah,
she's such a beloved figure as well, and like such a, I mean, just both for us fans, but then she's how popular she is in amongst the group. So if she's involved in the game, she's getting pumped up. She's doing her juzzy sellies and whatever with a goal or two. That stuff just kind of like it's like the rising tides lift all ships thing. Like she's playing like, and it's the same with Houghton. When Houghton's having a good like a real good Gemma game, and we're all like the Port are probably playing okay. So yeah, it's like
hmm
get her involved. I mean, I know Gemma kicked the two goals last week, and then there was not much else, but she did the best with opportunities presented. Um,
yeah.
but in a game like this against an opposition like Gold Coast, if you can get some ball down forward into those spaces for the likes of Gemma, if Gemma and Juzzy are both kind of providing some danger down there, scare factor to bring back to bring a term in from the men's reviews of the year, which hopefully we do get to talk about a bit of scare factor in the coming weeks with our forward line.
Houghton
Yeah,
and Schultz definitely have that in spades.
absolutely.
Um, Houghton had three shots on goal, kicking two goals, one against Gold Coast last year. So,
Mm.
with 10 disposals, 263 meters gained. So, if we can get something similar to that, you'll know that the rest of the team is on.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny, like looking. I can't remember who was it. It might have been Ghana, maybe from last week when they put up the all-time leading scorers in AFLW at the moment, and Houghton's only six off the top at the moment. Not I expect her to keep going
Right.
and keeping pace with the top because some of those players are just kicking bags because they're in good sides. But if we can keep just getting Gemma like a couple of weeks just to keep her in the list and see where she ends up
Mm.
by the end. Uh,
That's where we ended up last year, and it was a bit like Mitch Georgiadis this year. Always expected the four shots from Mitch, and it got to a point last year where we expected two or three shots on goal from Gemma
yeah.
once we got into the season. And we need to get back to that because, yeah, she has a knack. She's one of the best forwards that the AFLW has had, to be fair.
Mhm.
And you just need to utilize her in the right way and not just leave her to come up and down the ground and waste energy trying to impact up the ground just to get her around the ball and just to get her hands on the ball.
Mhm.
Um, the midfielders should be doing that. They need to lift in transition so that she can play closer to home. Because
Yeah.
again, with the sentiments I had with Schultz, like there's not that many absolutely dominant defenders in the AFLW. So getting Gemma inside 30 um, is fraught with danger from an opposition point of view.
Yeah, yeah, it is, and hopefully we can. I said with the opposition we're coming up against, again, no disrespect to them, but close to where we're at, and we hope that we are better
Mm,
than the sum of what we've seen in the first couple of weeks. Because it is important. Because if we do not take advantage of maybe a team that's a little bit more gettable, and we somehow find a way to drop this one as well, we're 0-3 on the season, and we've dropped two by this point. It would be dropping two at home already. It would be a we're already starting to look at that steep hill to climb to find our way even close to finals contention. It is quite important that we win this one, and the betting odds do kind of lent very heavily towards us as well. The bookies have us $1.14 versus the Suns at 5.50, so that's a
Mm.
quite significant disparity in the odds. Didn't actually look at what the ones were for us last week against Kangaroos, but I assume they were quite long. I remember that Frio at one point it was a dollar, like right down the line, like $1.91.
Yeah.
Um, so, and to be fair, that Frio game probably went that way for a fair bit of it. We just, as like a slow start, kind of hampered us, and we were chasing tail for the rest of it, and then they just got away at the end again. Assuming the odds for last week were probably fairly reflective of the result. So we look at the odds this week and go, well, the bookies are looking at us as pretty strong favourites. We need to show that on the field as well, though, because as I said, we would be finding ourselves in quite a significant hole if we found a way to, let us down again this week and drop this one.
Mm. And funnily enough, Gold Coast have one of the better players in the competition in Charlie Rowbottom.
Mm-hmm.
She had a great game against us last year, and she'll be in and around the ball all day, and she'll probably rack up plenty of disposals. I mean, just looking at the game from last year, Gold Coast had four of the top five disposal getters on the ground. I think from what I can see, two of them are playing and two of them aren't. The two that are playing include Charlie Rowbottom and Neve McLaughlin. So
Mm-hmm.
Neve McLaughlin on a half-back line, that was probably a lot due to our forward dominance last year. But Charlie Rowbottom is a fantastic player in her own right, and
Mm-hmm.
seeing her and particularly probably Dowrick, who's probably the best matchup because they both possess contested acumen and explosiveness out of contest. So I look forward to that matchup particularly. Obviously, being one of few matchups I actually am familiar with
Yeah,
in the AFLW at this point in time.
yeah. It's funny. This one's only going to be like people on YouTube are going to see it, but I actually one of the random cards I have is a there we go. Is the camera? That's Charlie Rowbottom in a nice little card there.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Randomly don't know why I have it. I think I got it in like a break or something like that. People that don't know cards will understand what that means, but yeah, got like a set of Gold Coast captains cards from a certain release. There's a Took Miller one there as well, who I love. So I've kept them. I'm like, I'd like these players, so I've just kept them for the last couple of years.
Mm.
But yeah, as you said, I'm like it's a player I'm familiar with, Charlie Rowbottom. So yeah, I mean, as we often say, we're still getting used to we've gotten a fair handle on our team, but we're still getting used to the opposition watch. And it's one thing I'm really looking forward to doing now that the AFL men's for me is over. I'll watch the finals, but it'll be with really just hoping for a certain team to lose, obviously. But what I'm actually looking forward to doing is like some of that spit, like because I watched a lot of footy throughout the year. Like we are always oppo watching and just enjoying footy in the men's season. I'm transferring that to the women's. I'm going to start throwing a few more women's games on when I can to try to just start getting my heads around some of these other teams as well. Obviously, some of the star teams you just know from how good they are. Like North Melbourne, I'm starting to get a fair handle on some of their stars because they tore us apart last week. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching a few more other games. Yeah, are you fairly confident of a win here? I'm
Yeah, I think you
talking.
need to be.
Yes, you do. Yeah,
Mm.
that's a
We're
fair
at
point.
home. We have got, amidst our injury woes, and I haven't actually looked at Gold Coast's injury list prior to this, unfortunately. But even with our injury woes, the team that is on paper there is quite a formidable one
Hmm.
and has stars in each line. So it's time that, like I said near the top of the episode, we need to start well and we need to start converting some of that clearance into score, and we need to complete some of the change that we started to develop, particularly last week with the ball being in the defense so much. We need to be confident of a win, and now we're 3 games into the season. Um, you would hope some of the cobwebs have been shaken off because, like you said, 12 games isn't a lot, and
Mm.
each loss seems bigger than the last.
Yeah, yeah. It feels like a loss. Feels like there's that multiplier on it for what it means for your season. And we're
Mm,
pretty cognizant of the fact that we had a relatively tough start to the year with the opposition in mind. I guess it remains to be seen where Freo end up exactly this year, but North Melbourne we certainly know are the cream of the crop and could very much win the premiership again this year. So now's the time. I think when we previewed the season, we kind of looked at it and said, all right, the first 2 weeks are against finals opposition, but then the next few weeks are against teams that were in the lower half of the table last year. So there's opportunity there. And while our injury list, look, it would be lovely to have you like Satikul and like we loved Caitlin Wenland's contribution to our forward line. I think she almost averaged a goal a week last year, and just again she provided a little bit of danger and scare factor with how good she was down there in her movement. But despite that and some of the other injuries that we're still waiting upon, I mean, we're still waiting to see Lauren Young play at all for our club. The side that we have on paper is still very, very capable. And, a few of those are really good ones that we've brought in recently or, in the last year and certainly Ella Heads it's literally this year. I'm looking forward to, you brought her up and I just didn't have much of a watch on her from last week, but now going to see Lily Patterson in person to see a bit more of what you were chatting about on the main show last week and seeing how she looks in person as well, because it'll be our first chance to see Lily play in person alongside a couple of these other ones as well. So since
go on.
yeah, it was Lily and Chloe that both debuted last week, wasn't it? So yeah, we haven't seen them play yet. So yeah, that'll be really nice to see them play for the first time in person. So it's their first. I mean, for them as well, that's their first game at Alberton for premiership points. So that'll be a nice moment for them to play in the front of the faithful. Get the Never Tear Us Apart for the first time. That's kind of a nice little moment for those two.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so I mean, let's all get down there and make it a good one for them as well.
Yeah,
It's all
absolutely.
reciprocal.
Saturday afternoon at 4:30, like fucking not many better reasons. Not really any excuses not to get down there. That's perfect. Like not too late for those that are cognizant of that, but yeah, a beautiful time to get down to Port Adelaide. You can go have a beer there, get to Paralife afterwards. Highly recommend that as to those out there.
Yeah, and I totally overestimated how long the games go for, even though I attended most of them last year. Yeah, it's just again coming off the back of the men's season, um, when it is a bit of a bigger day to go to the football. Yeah, one positive about the women's game, although I'm not entirely happy with the game time that they play within. It is a bit of a quicker excursion to go and support your football club, or yeah, to go grab a meal, or yeah, just get out the house and experience some live sport. And I think we brought it up a couple of times last week. It has a bit more of a raw local community feel to it as well, which I find quite wholesome
Yeah,
as well going down there.
I think I enjoy the game day experience down there as much as I enjoy going. I love going to Adelaide Oval for the men's. Obviously, like
Mm.
I live for it. I plan my year around it pretty much.
Yeah,
But as
yeah.
far as just the way it soaks into your pores and your soul, down at when you can just smell, even you still just get that little whiff of liniment and deep heat and stuff like that when you're sometimes in the right spot down in Alberton. Like there's a little bit of that about it, the country footy stuff, and
Yeah.
the sausage sizzle
Seeing
van
all the
that's coming.
players that aren't playing, just chilling on the sidelines as well.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, being amongst the fans.
yeah.
Um,
It's lovely. It's
yeah, it's always a nice time.
I can't recommend it enough, and it's I mean, highly recommend for people out there to get the memberships if you haven't already. They're great
Yeah.
value. I think what was it? Adult one was
And
70.
you'll get a hat like I'm wearing this
Yes,
year.
I've got one around here somewhere. I've got the box up behind me actually as a display. 'Cause
Mm.
it's a cool box, and I'm a
It
hoarder.
is a
So
cool box. It's a cool box.
yeah, what's in the
I
box?
like it.
A hat. Um, yeah, it's fun.
My son is a box. No.
I bought the junior membership for my nephew as well, and that was a really cool. It's got like the Artoon style, like picture of Gemma, Matilda, and Woodland. I think I'm trying to think now because I gave the box to them,
Nice.
obviously. Um, and they was meant to be a sticker sheet in there, but they it wasn't in there. I'd meant to email them, hadn't even got around to it yet. And I got an email from the club the other day saying, we're aware a sticker sheet didn't end up in the box that was meant to, so it's on the way. It's at some point soon. So I was like, oh, cool. I
Oh,
didn't even have to do anything. So they've kind of
yeah.
rectified that without me even
Kids
having to.
love stickers. Oh boy.
Kids love stickers. I'm sitting here in front of a desk that I've got like the New Era hat sticker on there, a few of the Creed ones on there that I'll be getting back when the store event launches. There will be on there. So yeah, kids love stickers. I kind of saw that was a sticker sheet involved. I was like, oh, why didn't my adult one have one? But I'm not criticizing. That's just me being like a man child at
I
37.
want one.
Yeah, give me the sticker sheet. But yeah, no, get around. Like the tickets, the memberships are highly recommended. But if you're just wanting to go for a game or two, like tickets are $15, and then kids get in free. So it's really a cheap day out. Beers are a little bit cheaper down there as well than what you'd expect down at. And they've got Pirate Life cans at the Plenty at all the bars, which is helpful for
And
me.
it's all going to the club, which is
Exactly.
even better,
Yeah,
rather
yeah,
than the SMA.
yeah. Those fucking ghouls. So yeah, the SMA, not the club.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
Oh, I miss the game day village, man. Like, fuck the SMA. Yeah, no, looking forward to it. We'll see. I'll see you down there, and as we said on the main show, if you're around there and you want to say good day to us, reach out on socials. If you want to, like, say something, we're here. Like, where are you? Or if you just see us in passing, say good day as well. That's how Jamie and I met, and I've met a few other people that way as well. They've just been like, "You the Creed guy?" I'm like, "Yeah." So,
Hmm.
yeah, no, feel free to say good day. Uh, that's about. Do you have anything else on the women's, or happy to move on?
Nah, that's about it for me.
Yeah,
Just hoping for an improved performance and yeah, that translates to points on the board so we can get our season underway.
yeah, absolutely. 100% concur. So that'll do for the squad show for the women this week. We're going to continue on in a second after a brief little intermission to talk about just some of the issues with the AFL that we have at the moment, because Jamie and I have been talking about it, whether it be between some of the news about potential draft changes, and then, of course, the news last week that has kind of filtered into this week as well. That will be on the Patreon. So if you're listening to this on the Patreon, then this will just continue on for you. But if you're listening to this show on the Spotify feeds, YouTube, whatever, because we did want to bring the squad show for the women to the main feeds as well and have that available, because we want to really push the women's game and make sure it's available for all to get themselves into it. So if you're listening, if you're not a Patreon member and you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Pods or YouTube or whatever, podcast is about to end for you. So we're sorry about that. But if you want to sign up for the Patreon to listen to the rest of what we have to say tonight, do that. If you're listening to this on the Patreon, it'll just continue on for you. So thank you to you guys that are already on the Patreon. Love your support. We'll be back after a brief little intermission to chat a little bit more to you. But for those of you that are
Yeah,
signing off for the evening, can the pair.
go the lady pair.